morning, beloveds. All right. I know I'm forever fussing with the camera. If you could see the rig that it takes to get you at a good angle. Because I do this from my phone. And so I have a little stand, and it's sitting on top of a mouse pad, which is sitting on top of a box, which is sitting on top of a TV tray, which is why it moves every day, because there's nothing stable about this. So, but it gets you eye level, so I'm not looking down on you, and you're not, hopefully not looking up my nose. But we apparently had a break in the humidity, so today when we got up, it said it was 77 degrees, and it feels like it was 77 degrees. So I said, do you want to run or do you want to bike? And Tom said, let's run. So I actually did go for the run today. Now, tomorrow, which if you're watching this on YouTube, it won't matter. I'm not sure what time I'm going to do this tomorrow. I will probably do it a little early. I have a doctor's appointment. So just for the timing, and since this is a new doctor, I may try and do it like 15 minutes early. So we'll see. We'll see. And if I don't get it done early, then it means I'll do it after the doctor's appointment, which God knows what time that is, because, new doctor. But I have tomorrow off, not to go to the doctor. I have I was taking advantage of that. There's this amazing retreat that is done every year called SOAR, and they do it in fantastic places, and it's just the timing of it's awkward, and so I haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of it. Well, this year they decided to do it online, and they're doing it on a Friday and a Saturday, and I went, I got time for that. So I asked for the day off on Friday, and my work said, okay, we can make that work. So they gave me the Friday off, and so I'm going to do a retreat. I know it's online, it's a little weird, but the ones that I've done, because I've done 2 of them now, I've really enjoyed them. So there's definitely something about, I know a lot of people are probably sick of the Zoom, but since I work in a shop, I'm around people all the day, so me being on Zoom and interacting with people and listening to people talk, I'm down with that. Alright, but it is August 12th. Our title is I Fear No Evil. The quote is from the Tao Te Ching. So, the net of heaven is cast wide, though the mesh is not fine, yet nothing ever slips through. And that is the Tao Te Ching 73. The omnipotence of God forever surrounds and maintains man. All power is instantly available at every point in space and in every instant of time. As man knows this, all fear is erased from his consciousness. I join with all who know God as the only power and presence in their life. I have absolute faith in the goodness of life and the indestructibility of spirit. God in me is my resource, and nothing can harm me. I know that I am the cause of my experience, and I erase fear from my mind, and evil cannot appear in my world. Love attends me wherever I go. Peace envelops me at every moment, and God will never leave me comfortless. I rejoice at my knowledge of good. I rejoice that my knowledge of good has destroyed my belief in evil. The more I know of God, the less I create or experience difficulties. I steadfastly watch my thought and eliminate every suspicion of fear and negation. Through the doors of my mind, only good ideas pass and only righteous judgments issue. Good is my experience now and forevermore. I have complete security because I keep my consciousness free from false conclusions about evil. I know that no evil can happen to me unless it happens through me, and that I will not allow. I consecrate consecrate my consciousness to truth, and thereby think the truth and experience, thereby think the truth and experience the truth. Evil is not the truth and has no place in me or my affairs. The endless possibilities of life are before me, and nothing can prevent spiritual development. I know that I am growing in spiritual wisdom and in factual demonstration. Every victory over evil increases my realization of its lack of power and authority in my life. I am the victorious creation of triumph in all my ways. Okay, there's a lot in here. A whole lot in here. But one of the things that struck me is that my knowledge of good destroys my belief in evil. And I think that is an extraordinarily powerful statement, because my knowledge of good, my knowledge of God, my knowledge of the source of my being, my knowledge of the attributes, the qualities of good and life and God, all come up to the sum of the fact that evil is not a power. Evil is not a power. Evil is a misuse of power. Therefore, evil can't exist unless someone is taking action and misusing that power. So my knowledge of good then will help me to use the power and the law appropriately, and therefore evil will not find a venue through me. I will not be a conduit for evil, because I know how to use this power appropriately. And I also know then when people aren't doing it, then I don't need them in my life. So if I have people in my life who are misusing the power, then it behooves me to take action to get them out of my life. And from a very personal level to a global level, there are actions to take when we see people misusing power. And it is my knowledge of good, so your knowledge of good, that will help you to take those steps. Because it is our knowledge of good that shows us evil doesn't have to exist. So we can destroy the belief in, and it destroys the belief in evil as a power. We recognize it as a misuse, and we go, well, now what are we going to do about this? Okay? So that of everything that this said, and it says a whole lot. It says a whole lot. That's the one that kind of jumped out at me and went, yeah. It means that we have a part to play in eradicating evil. And it starts with us. We got to know who we are, where we came from, and we got to know what evil is and what good is. And once we know that, then we know evil doesn't have to exist. And then we work to eliminate it. All right? It's a misuse. A misuse. All right. That's what jumped out at me. A lot jumped out at me, but that's the one that kind of went, this is what you want to talk about today. All right. So, I fear no evil. And the net of heaven is cast wide, though the mesh is not fine, yet nothing ever slips through. And I remember, I think it's in Heartfelt Living, where, because when there's no way to conceptualize an infinite, it's so beyond us. It's so beyond us. And so how do we conceptualize, something that exists at every point in space and time? Well, a net is one of the ways. And it's the Tao Te Ching is reminding us that it's a huge net. It's beyond what we can, but nothing ever gets through it. Nothing ever gets through it. Because, that's God. So, Because I remember that the intersections, what we are is we're knots in the net. We're an intersection of, material and all of that. And what happens at that end of the net affects us too. And so nothing ever slips through. So like I said, that is from the Tao Te Ching 73. All right. The omnipotence of God forever surrounds and maintains people. All power is instantly available at every point in space and every instant in time. Infinite. There's just... Rumi says that all of the ocean exists in a drop. That's God. So all of God exists in you. All of God exists in you. And you are a drop in God. So it's just, if you think about it too long, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So it's like, I'll focus on it for as long as I can, and then I'm going to go and do. And that's the benefit of spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is that time you set aside to focus on that drop. And you focus on those ideas that are mind-blowing. And then, so once you fill up with that energy, then you go and take care of, the rest of your life. If we could stay in that all the time. But that takes practice. Okay. As people know this, all fear is erased from their consciousness. I join with all who know God as the only power and presence in their lives. Those are the people that I want to be around. I want to be around the people who know God. I don't care what they call God. They can use any name they want. In fact, I know some atheists and they don't call God at all. But they live according to the same principles that I do. So while I would never tell them that they know God, because they use a different word for it, then those are the people that I want in my life. Those are the people that I want in my life. I have absolute faith in the goodness of life and the indestructibility of spirit. God in me is my resource and nothing can harm me. Okay, so the core of me, the spirit of me, nothing can harm that. Nothing can harm that. When we talk about the indestructibility of the person, we're talking about that spirit. We're talking about the soul. So occasionally we have to let go of the material. But nothing can harm that spirit. I know that I am the cause of my experience and I erase fear from my mind and evil cannot appear in my world. Now, evil cannot appear in my world because I know good and I choose not to be a venue, a conduit, a place for evil to happen. I choose not to be a place for that to happen. So it is not in my world. And I love how Ernest kind of gets a little specific there. He talks about my world, because the world I live in is a little different than the world everybody else lives in. The world you live in is a little different from everyone, and you have absolute and complete control over that world. What we don't have absolute and complete control over is where our worlds intersect. And that's where we negotiate. And that's where we want to make sure that we are surrounding ourselves with people who know God. Now, again, like I said, I'm not going to I'm not going to get picky about what they call God. They can call God whatever they want, as long as they know God. Those are the people. And so I'm going to surround myself with those people. And that, then when my world interacts with their world, there's much less chance of evil appearing because they know how to use the power. I know how to use the power. It's one of those ideas that it's hard for words to express. It's something you have to experience and do. Love attends me wherever I go. Peace envelops me at every moment, and God will never leave me comfortless. Statement of fact. Statement of power. So if I'm walking into a situation where where I'm afraid any of those may not be the truth, then I'm going to state them as truth and act as if. I rejoice that my knowledge of good has destroyed my belief in evil. I still love that. I still love that. The more I know of God, the less I can create or experience difficulties. And that's what I'm talking about. The more I know of God, the more I am in alignment with the qualities of God, the more I align with peace, and the more I align with harmony, and the more I align with joy, and the more I align with happiness, and the more I align with creativity and creation, the less I create or experience difficulties, because I am in alignment with life. I steadfastly watch my thought and eliminate every suspicion of fear or negation. Because fear and negation will feed on itself. So as soon as it starts to crop up, I gotta weed it. That's about weeding your garden. As soon as you see that, you nip that in the bud. You nip that in the bud. Weed that out. Through the doors of my mind, only good ideas pass and only righteous judgment issue. It's like, before I say something, let me pass it. Let it pass through 3 gates. Is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it loving? Is it loving? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If it's not any of those, then if it's not all 3 of those, then maybe I don't have any business saying it. Okay. Good is my experience now and forevermore. I have complete security because I keep my consciousness free of false conclusions about evil. I keep my consciousness free of false conclusions about evil. I know that no evil can happen to me unless it happens through me, and this I will not allow. I consecrate my consciousness to truth and thereby think the truth. I consecrate my consciousness to truth and thereby think the truth and experience the truth. Evil is not the truth, and it has no place in me or my affairs. I'm going to keep my garden weeded. The endless possibilities of life are before me, and nothing can prevent spiritual development. The only thing that can prevent your spiritual development is you getting in your own way. But the more you know about good, the more knowledge you have of good, the more experience you have of good, the less you can get in your own way on the spiritual development. It's going to happen naturally. I know that I am growing in spiritual wisdom and in factual demonstration. Every victory over evil increases my realization of its lack of power and authority in my life. It's that scene at the end of Labyrinth. You have no power over me. You have no power over me. And the world that was created falls apart. I am the victorious creation of triumph in all my ways. You are the victorious creation of triumph in all your ways. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased. So your knowledge of good is what is utmost important. To surround yourself by people who know God, regardless of what they call God. And then when your worlds intersect, good things happen. Good things happen. All right, beloveds, let's see what the mission is. Actually, I saw it a minute ago. Actually, yeah. Okay, so I do love the line, I rejoice in my knowledge of good, that my knowledge of good has destroyed my belief in evil. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to know more of God. To know more of God. What does that mean? Oh, well, it opens up the possibilities. To know more of God. So the mission today is to know more of God, to know more of good. All right? How do we do that? Well, that's what spiritual practice is for. We go back and we read. We go for a walk in nature. We examine the natural world. That's an excellent way to get to know God, because the natural world is God made visible. People are God made visible. So go and interact with people and know God. It's like that scene. Now, okay, I love the Muppets Christmas Carol, but in any Christmas Carol that you have ever seen, there is that point. There's 2 points in the Muppets Christmas Carol where he says, "Come in and know me better, man." And towards the end of the Christmas Present, he says, "Go forth and know him better, man. Know them better, man." So, because he was talking to Scrooge, go forth and know them better. Go forth and know them better. One of the most interesting assignments that I had while I was in school was to go and experience other faith traditions. You know? Go forth and know them better. Get to know God. Get to know God in all of the forms and ways that we do, because you'll discover something that you didn't know in every faith tradition. I'm an anthropologist. It's what I love. All right, beloveds. I also encourage you, as I always do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Whatever that looks like. Whatever that looks like. On Tuesday, it was opting for a bike ride instead of a run. Today, it was going ahead and taking the risk and taking the run. I ran a little slow today, but I did it. So, yeah, whatever it is kind, whatever is compassionate, whatever is loving, practice on yourself. Always. 1, you deserve it. 2, best place to practice. 3, it will give you more for other people. It really will. It'll fill up your bank. It'll fill up your bank. All right, beloveds. So, do something to engage your mind and your body today, to get yourself moving, to get yourself going. I did suggest taking a walk in a park. Great way to get to know God. I think it was Ansel Adams that said, nature is God made visible. Could be wrong about that, though. Wouldn't surprise me if I was. All right, beloveds. Drink plenty of water. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. All right? Reverend David should be on with you around 5 p.m. today on Facebook Live. I will be back. I'm aiming for 8:45. So we'll see. Obviously, since I'm going to the doctor, I can't have breakfast. So I might as well come do this, not eat breakfast. And then we'll get on with it. We'll get on with it. So do what you need to do to make it a wonderful day, or a fantastic day, or an amazing day. Or, if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. All right, beloveds? Know that you are loved. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven now. All it takes is you being willing to open your eyes, look around, open your heart and your consciousness, and see that it's all made by God, including you. All right, beloveds, have a wonderful day.